Be sure and tell him Large Mars sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We rented movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained as pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the feedback bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast.
Lisa, I don't need this. I swear to God, I do not need this right now, okay? I got a judge that's just aching to throw me in jail. An idiot who wants to fight me for $200. Slaughtered pigs. Giant loud whistles. I ain't slept in 5 days. I got no money, a dress code problem, and a little murder case, which in the balance holds the lives of 2 innocent kids. Not to mention your biological clock, my career, your life, our marriage, and let me see, what else could we pile on? Is there any more shit we could pile on to the top of the outcome of this case? Is it possible?
Maybe it was a bad time to bring it up.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast, your favorite podcast where 2 Sweetie sisters talk about their favorite flicks from childhood. I'm Sweetie.
And I'm Sweety.
And today is a happy birthday to you. Happy Don't sing your own birthday song.
To me.
Happy birthday, dear Sweetie.
That's me.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's Sweetie's birthday tomorrow.
BT Dubs is actually Carol's B-Day today.
Carol.
Ask Carol.
May 18.
Yeah. Don't ask Carol how old she is. Yeah. So it's Mama's birthday today. Day before mine. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. We're exactly 30 years apart. So do the math if you want to know how old Carol
You just
is.
said don't ask Carol how old she is.
Don't ask her.
And
Figure it
then
out. So happy birthday, Carol. We love you so much.
We love
I hope you had
you.
the greatest day today. And I know you were working and doing a lot of other things, but hopefully you're celebrating tomorrow with lots of relaxation and knitting and all those fun things. But yeah, guys. So by the time you're hearing this, it'll have been my birthday.
Woo!
I'm turning 35. Here's how I feel about it. Ready?
Yep.
I feel good.
Oh.
I was like looking through all my different birthday pictures. Kind of want to make a collage tomorrow. And I'm like, look at me through the ages. And you know what? I look pretty good. So I feel okay about it. I mean, sure. Like, I don't have a significant other or children, but I live by myself. I have an awesome cat. I have an awesome podcast and an awesome Sweetie sister. So, like, my life is kind of amazing. So I just want all you mid 30-year-olds out there who might be like myself and get, occasionally sad they're not doing things that other people are doing. But I just want to say you make your own life and you make your own benchmarks and what you want to fulfill. Who cares about other people?
Yeah.
You do you.
Wow. Oh, so inspiring.
Isn't that inspiring?
It's beautiful. Thank you.
I worked on that all day. Just kidding. Made it up in the bathroom.
What? Just now?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Took a toke.
Nice.
Made a speech. That's another talent.
Okay. So, and to celebrate this momentous occasion, I asked Sweetie to pick a movie that she would like to watch and review for the podcast. She had 2. Whoa.
Whoops. My Skype just kicked in. Sorry.
Again, it's always
not at
doing
work.
that.
Bye-bye.
Why is it it's like a rocket ship?
Cancel.
I hope you guys heard that. It was a good sound effect. She picked 2 choices. Either My Cousin Vinny or Rookie of the Year. Strange.
Really like opposite sides of the spectrum. We're going to cover them both.
You know
we
what?
did.
I would
right?
disagree. I think they're both kind of sports movies, and we'll get into why later.
That's gonna blow my mind. I've been wanting to do anyway. So 2 this week, and we're going to do Rookie of the Year soon. But tonight we did My Cousin Vinny. And I've been wanting to do this movie. I mean, I think it's been on the list for a while, but when I was on jury duty a couple months ago, remember that?
Yeah, why did we do it?
I forgot why we couldn't fit it into that whole thing. I don't know. Anyway, so it was kind of like backburned for a long time. And then, if you remember and you're fans of this podcast, the last birthday movie we did was Mary Poppins, which was our most downloaded episode of all time.
Hey, sweetie, what was the last birthday movie for my birthday?
We didn't do one because I forgot my computer.
That's right. Damn it! I never get a birthday movie.
Yeah, you don't, because
I didn't get one the year before either.
Yeah, because you're younger and you don't. I don't know. There's no reason why you shouldn't get
Fine.
a birthday movie. I'm sorry. I'm sorry it didn't work out. Anyway, but yeah, we did Mary Poppins last year. It was amazing. But like this year, I was like, I don't know if I feel like doing a musical because it was just really hard to top Mary. And I think I've almost run out of all my favorite musicals. Let's be real.
It's impossible.
So
Impossible.
yeah, I thought it was time for my second favorite genre of movies, which would be the law procedural.
Courtroom dramas?
Courtroom dramas.
Wow, cool.
Yeah. I am a lawyer that never became a lawyer.
Should have been a lawyer.
I really should have been a lawyer. I really think I have
about talking.
Nope, I'm like an amazing public
Isn't that
speaker
why you didn't
now.
want to be
and
a
I would fucking
journalist?
kill it.
I thought that was why you didn't want to be a journalist, because you didn't like going up to random people and talking to them.
That's not the law. That would not have anything to do with law.
Okay.
I think I'd be really good. I'm good at public speaking. I'm good. It was right in my wheelhouse. However, too much work. Let's be honest. Too much school. Also, like, who has that kind of money? And like, I know with lawyers that you do come out with making a lot of money, so your student loans are kind of nothing. But at this point in my life, I could totally go back to law, and go back to school and do all that stuff. But do I want to? No. So the only way I can live out my dreams is by watching a lot of shows that have to do with the law,
or movies, or you could join a mock trial club.
Yeah,
and do that.
Do they have that for adults?
I don't know. Probably.
You're just like making clubs up.
I just think it would be. I don't know. I'm sure they do. They have everything else.
Anyway, long story short, this is one of my favorite courtroom drama movies, and is also, fun fact here, guys, the ABA, American Bar Association, ranks this, My Cousin Vinny, number 3 in terms of best law movies of all time. What is up?
Wow, but not is...
I don't know what number 1 is. To Kill a Mockingbird? Who fucking knows?
Probably. But is it accurate? I mean, that's my question.
Yes, also in the trivia, the director... forget his name, but he has a law degree, so he made a point of making this movie like super authentic, and actually had like tons of people step in and be like, is this what would really happen, this and that. So it's actually very true to form.
You can just like bring whatever witness you want and be like, this is my witness.
I guess if it's like expert testimony or whatever that kind of category of witnesses they're bringing in. Read the trivia. I'm not making this shit up.
Okay.
I mean, maybe someone else made that shit up and put it up there. We've had this discussion before about IMDb. But anyway, My Cousin Vinny, one of my favorite movies. It was from 1992. Yeah, good call. 1992. I forget when I first saw it. Dad loved it. Definitely was like, this movie's awesome. It has a lot of swears in it, though. So, as a little kid, that was like, ooh, they're swearing.
You were afraid of swears?
I wasn't afraid. I was like, this is cool. I feel like an adult. I'm allowed to watch this R-rated movie. It's R because of all the swears. And, they're letting me listen to the swears. So, I thought it was cool.
You're pretty cool parents.
When did you first see this movie? TV? On video? VHS?
I have a small confession to make. I've been pretending that I've seen this movie my entire life.
I don't think I actually.
Wow!
Oh my god, this is awesome.
I've only seen like the beginning, and I remember we were watching this like in a hotel room on our way to Florida one year, and it was again just like the time we watched Tremors in the hotel on the way to Florida. It was like that same trip probably, but I don't know. I've always felt a sense of like feeling left out with this movie in our family, because I feel like everyone in our family has an inside joke about how great this movie is, and I'm not part of it. Okay. And I wanted to be a part of it, so I just like laughed along with all of you. But then I was like, I don't think I've gone past the part where he realizes he's not in prison for stealing a can of tuna. Like, I don't know if I've gone past that.
I've been quoting this movie to you like my entire life.
I know. Have you ever noticed my reaction? No, I would just be like, what? And then you'd be like, my cousin Vinny. You always have to say what it's from because I never know.
Oh, no. Wow, I really thought you had seen it. I'm sorry. You should have said that. Why didn't you confess that before we watched it?
Because I'm embarrassed. That's what happens when like a well-loved movie by everyone, and it's like shameful if you say you've never seen it.
It's not shameful, but it just would make you watch it.
Whatever.
Which, mission accomplished. You did it.
I did it.
So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so, I mean, what I remember about this movie as a child are two things. One, grits. Two, can of tuna. And, I mean, that's about it. And the whole, like, okay, so the whole, like, impetus of this is that he puts a can of tuna in his pocket and forgets about it. Our dad used to do that shit, like, all the time. He'd be like, okay, I can't hold this peanut butter in my hand. And then he'd put it in his pocket. And then we'd be at the checkout line. And I'd be like, Dad, you got the peanut butter in your pocket. And then he'd take it out. So that always reminded me of that because he was always like, oh, my cousin Vinny. Wow. And again, like, as a 6-year-old, I was like, ha, 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 I know that movie.
Obviously, like, you wouldn't have known it
you
then.
Know what? This has been a long in the making. I can't believe I'm admitting it, but it's been happening for so long.
I mean, maybe we should just stop this podcast right now. I feel weird about doing it if you haven't seen it.
No, I've seen it.
I mean, is this going to be like Flight of the Navigator?
What? I liked that.
But you had never seen it.
Yeah,
that was
I didn't
another one where
lie about it.
You had like not seen it at all.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies I haven't seen at all.
Jeez,
how many have you not seen at all?
None.
Again,
yeah,
what
I've seen
fuck,
everything.
You guys.
Also, I'm older. Yeah. So 1992. I think let's do the math. 2002, 2012, almost 30 years later. Still, the claim to fame for this movie, other than being number 3 on the ABA, top legal drama list, awesome, that Marisa Tomei won the Best Supporting Actress Oscar so it would have been 1993 Oscars for this film, which at the time, and still is basically, huge for comedies to take home Academy Awards. And I looked at the people she was against, and it was like,
tell me more.
Very famous actresses in very serious dramas.
Okay.
Miranda Richardson, who was the other one? Really famous old actresses. Now I can't remember. Judy
Maggie Smith
Davis, something.
Judi Dench.
Enchanted. Oh no, who's the woman in Enchanted April? So I can Joan Ploworth. No, Enchanted April. That one. I forget what the other movies were because I didn't even recognize the other movies. But obviously, like only comedy nominated, and she was the only nominee from this movie. So it's not like they were like, oh, let's like throw it in for comedy nomination for best Oscar. This wasn't this is 1993. This wasn't when they had like 25 best Oscar picks, like let's give everybody a chance. This was a select field, people, and Marisa Tomei won, and people were in an uproar. I do not know if you remember this, but I do.
Yes, I remember that. I don't. Has anybody won an Oscar for a comedy in the supporting?
I don't know.
Maybe male actress.
Yeah.
But I don't know if any. Did
Cuba.
Okay, I said.
Is that a comedy?
Yeah. Comedy, drama,
Yeah.
romance. What's that called? Romantic comedy.
That's 2 words.
Yeah, so it's very interesting, and just like comedy movies just don't get considered normally for awards like this. And the last time, was Jennifer Lawrence? Oh no, she won for Silver Linings.
True, but I would. So that's again like more comedy drama. This is like straight up comedy.
This
isn't really
that's
drama.
True. I haven't much heard of that happening ever. So it's pretty amazing. And I remember Marisa Tomei was like such a big deal in the 90s. There's that whole like Seinfeld episode about her and George, and so I remember that.
Marisa Tomei likes bald guys,
right? So so it's just a lot of history with this movie, and it's great, and it's good reveal. I was right there along at the end.
So you didn't know how they
no,
how it all happened.
That's why I got so excited when I was like, grits take 20 minutes to make.
They set all that up.
I was so excited.
Really well. So obviously, other than the Marisa Tomei Oscar, you have Joe Pesci, as he always is, amazing in any role he's in, coming off the heels of his Oscar win for Goodfellas. So he'd already won his Oscar, so he's like, I don't need one.
Yeah.
Ralph Macchio post Karate Kid, which I think was pretty huge for him because, like, I don't know, like, what he did after Karate Kid, and definitely, like, one of those roles you kind of get stuck in. I mean, even me, when I was, like, posting my Instagram stories about this, I'm like, oh, and Danielson's in this movie.
I believe he did Karate Kid Part 2 and then Karate Kid Part 3.
No, definitely. But it's like, how do you become, like, everyone just knows you as the Karate Kid. It's like Daniel, what's his name, Radcliffe?
Harry Potter?
Yeah, Harry Potter. Everything that guy does, everyone's like, oh, Harry Potter's in that movie. So it's hard. Like, you're so thankful for that role that gave you something, but, like...
He's definitely stepped apart from Harry Potter at this point,
Yeah.
so...
No,
he was naked on Broadway, so I think he's fine.
No, but I think no matter what, anytime you see that guy, you're going to be like, oh, Harry Potter's in that movie.
Sure.
So it's, like, interesting
Sure.
when you get to that level of, like, kind of... your character, you're just known by your character. It's kind of like when we talked about when, like, Carrie Fisher died and how, like, no matter how many other roles she did, she's always Princess Leia to everybody, and, like, that's how they see her. So, you know, Ralph Macchio, love you to bits, man, but you're always going to be my Danielson. Anyway, great turn, though, in this. I thought he did really well. Who else? The guy who plays Fred Munster on The Munsters. Love that
He's
guy.
also the old guy in Pet Sematary.
Yes. Good one.
Who's like, oh, I got an idea. Your cat's dead. Put it in this in the old burial cemetery. It'll come back alive. Good idea. Not.
Good idea. Not. Gage. Baby
no.
Gage.
Yeah. Well,
said.
he did not advise against for that. Let's just say. But and then some other people who are like pretty well known character actors by appearance, but I don't know if many people know their names. You got the guy from Ace Ventura. You got the guy from That Thing You Do. Their manager in the camper.
Yep.
You know, lots of randos.
Guy from Mighty Ducks.
Guy from Mighty. What?
The
Who?
coach. Evil coach.
Is Perry what?
Yes.
Is Perry?
Perry White from Lois and Clark, New Adventures of Superman.
And the dad from A League of Their Own, Marla's dad.
Marla's dad.
Right?
Where?
No, that's wrong. That's
Yeah.
wrong. Sorry.
No.
That's Clark Kent's dad. That's why I got confused.
Yes.
That's why I was confused.
Okay. Yeah. But as Sweetie said, yeah, a lot of good character actors that, like, you're like, oh, hey, that guy. So good cast. I love it. I think it is a fucking hilarious film. I'm laughing hysterically. I know, like, most of the lines, which I'm pretty still impressed. I hadn't seen this movie in a couple years, so I was like, still got it. But yeah, I just, you know, I think it's just an amazing courtroom
Comedy.
Courtroom comedy. Courtroom comedy. I like that. I like that new genre. Okay, so let's summarize this amazing movie. One Vinny bag of donuts at a time. It's time for the Sweetie synopsis. Yeah, Sweeties. I bet the Chinese food here is terrible.
Good one. Did they ever explain the bag of donuts nickname?
Oh,
No.
Well, we're going to play a game later.
Okay.
Revolving
Got it.
around that.
Cool.
Bag of donuts.
Bill Gambini and Stan Rothenstein or Stein. Stein.
Call me Stein.
Sorry, I forgot. Are on a road trip from. Where are they traveling from?
So
what is the deal?
They graduated from NYU. Or,
NYU.
sorry, they got... Yeah, it sounds like they graduated from NYU and got scholarships to go to UCLA, maybe grad school, or I don't know. The story was like muddled, but anyway, so they're going to California. And they're like,
And they
"What?"
decided to swing by Alabama?
And they're doing a cross country like road trip. So they're going to go down and to the south, which is a route that like I've taken before too.
Oh.
That's the route I went when I did my cross country trip to California. That's what we did.
Spooky.
We went down and across. So yeah, so they're two recent college grads, let's say, so 22-ish. Driving across country for the summer.
Driving across the country. So they're in Alabama.
Down south.
They're in Alabama, way down south. And they're like, this place is pretty weird, which if anyone's been to the south, no offense, pretty weird. It's a weird place.
Yeah, and I will say in general, and I would love to get, I don't know if we have any
Yes, we do.
viewers from Alabama.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Get your take on this movie. You know, like hit us up on Twitter if this movie is offensive at all to you, because I feel like, yes, obviously that's like, this was filmed in Georgia, so it takes place in Alabama, but they actually filmed it in Georgia. And I would say that from what I've seen from the South, that stuff does exist. It's not like coming out of nowhere. But I think this movie is slightly hostile to Southerners, and I just like to hear a real Southerner's take. Anyway, Sweetie,
Hostile?
continue.
I don't know if I would say hostile.
I think it makes fun of them. I don't
How?
know. I feel like it's very patronizing to people from the South. Okay.
All right. I have a rebuttal, but I'll hold it. So yeah, they're driving cross country. They stop at this little store called Suds. No.
Sac of Suds.
Sac of Suds.
S-A-C.
S-A-C. Like egg sac.
Like egg sac.
Gross.
Gross. Sick.
Maybe the K fell off. I don't know.
It was a hand-painted sign.
Oh, okay. Well, forget it. So they stop in there. They stock up on food. Ralph Macchio, Bill, is like, let me get some tuna fish, stick it in my pocket because I can't hold it in my arms.
Well, this is weird, right? Okay, who's been on a road trip? You don't go into a store and you're like, road trip food, can of beans, some tuna. Like, you getting chips. You getting Slim Jims.
They did get that other stuff. They
Why
did,
are they getting...
He wanted tuna fish.
He said he wanted protein.
Yeah.
I remember Stanley's like, oh, the beans have protein.
Yeah.
But are they like eating beans out of the can? Sick.
Probably. They're on a budge, man.
Sack of
Budge. It's not a sack of beans. Sack of suds. So they check out. They get back in the car. They drive away. Billy realizes he's left the can of tuna in his pocket. He's like, oh, no, I didn't pay for this. And his friend's like freaking out. He's like, man, you could get in trouble for that. He's like, we're not going to get in trouble. Wouldn't you know it, a police car pulls up behind them. They start freaking out a little bit. Even though Bill's like, we're fine. Like, what are they going to do? Like, kill us because we stole a can of tuna? And then they put the lights on and they pull him over. And the guy is like, takes out his giant shotgun and is like, show me your hands. And so they get arrested and they go to the jail. And this is like for serious jail. Like they had to get on a bus and go to jail. Like that's prison, right?
Wait, they're in jail or they just go to the police station first?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. So they go to the police station first and they get questioned. And this whole time they think that it's because they stole this can of tuna. When in fact, what happened was somebody killed the clerk at this store and then sped away, matching their description. So that's why they got arrested.
Similar car, too.
Yep. So they are arrested and then they find out they're there for murder. They're freaking out. They got to call a lawyer. Bill calls his mama. His mama's like, yo, blah, blah, blah is a lawyer. And he's like, what? And Stan's like, what? Who's a lawyer? And he's like, my cousin Vinny. So that's the title. Good times. So Vinny Bag of Donuts.
Vinny Bag of Donuts
Gambini shows up with his fiance.
Yeah, with his fiance, Mona Lisa Vito. So, they do the road trip, which is like good for them.
I know. I
Why
was
is
thinking
everybody
that too.
driving?
I don't know. Because flying's too expensive.
That
I don't
takes
know.
days, though. And like, don't they need a lawyer immediately? The one thing I think was a little unrealistic about this movie is the pace of this. Like, it was just so fast. And like, they go and once they are in, they do the preliminary stuff, and he's like, okay, trial's on Monday, and like that would never happen. You should have to like schedule all
when
that
the
shit.
preliminary stuff was. Could have been on a Wednesday,
anyway, I feel like the timeline's whack.
Tuesday.
Anyway, so Vinny shows up in town in his like again cool convertible as well.
A lot of convertibles in this
Yep,
movie.
with dressed in all leather, sunglasses. He's got his like hot to trot girlfriend Mona Lisa Vito with her big, big blown out kind of jet black hair. They're very inappropriately dressed, let's say, for this like southern hick town, and they don't fit it. But they go and at this point that they are in the prison because they have like semi confessed to this crime, even though they didn't know it because they thought they were being questioned about the can of tuna that they shoplifted. So then Bill does this sort of like weird confession-ish kind of thing where he's just like so shocked he's being accused of shooting the clerk that he goes, I shot the clerk, like a question, but they think that's like a statement. Anyway,
It didn't sound much like a question. It was very weird.
Yeah.
And he said it twice.
Yeah.
Which is
But he was
very
just like
ill-advised.
such in shock. So anyway, so they like get booked for this crime and now they're in jail. Vinny shows up and we'll talk about that scene later where they're like in like the prison, but essentially, they're like, wow, thanks for coming and help us. This is so great. Because as they say, lawyers cost between $50,000 and $100,000 for a case. Like, who has that kind of money? So if you know someone who's going to do it pro bono, aka a family member, you're like, yes, please. So he's there. Turns out that good old Vinny Bag of Donuts is Vinny hasn't been practicing law for very long. He just doesn't, he's tried about 0 cases, big fat goose egg, 0 cases, which they're like pretty shocked about because they're like, this isn't like a little like shoplifting. They wish it was shoplifting case. This is murder. This is fucking Alabama. They are going to get the electric chair. This is not a game.
This is serious time.
Yeah, this is serious time.
Yeah, so he just kind of makes his way through. He lies a lot to like, they have to do like a thing.
Okay, so the deal with Vinny is that it took him 6 times to pass the bar. So he does have his like license to practice, and because he passed the bar and all that, but he's tried no cases, which doesn't like mean he couldn't have done that.
I know. I don't know why the big thing was.
Just because he lied?
Maybe.
Because the judge keeps asking him, oh, like, where have you practiced? So he makes up all these lies to kind of cover his ass there. But why couldn't he? He had just said, oh, like, oops, my first case. Like, you know, you could not do
I think it was just in that initial meeting to like make sure he was like the procedure for okaying a lawyer from out of state to like come in.
Out of state is you have to have practice.
I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Good point.
But yeah, so they go through the thing, what's the first thing called?
Say that? Something with an A? No.
Alimony. No.
Something like that.
Well, anyways, where they present the stuff, they present the case, the evidence, blah, 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 blah. And Vinny's just like useless. He's just like not doing anything right. He's not saying anything right. He's not dressed correctly. The judge hates him.
Yeah.
He's basically a laughing stock. So they decide they have enough evidence to try the case. The case is going to go to the court. He's like, I got to get my ass in gear. I got to try harder. So he tries a little harder.
Yeah.
A little harder.
And
I wouldn't say
for
like
him because I would say, you know, Vinny has an attitude problem. He's not your ideal or typical lawyer at all. As Sweety said, he comes to, you know, try this case with no suit and tie, no formal clothes.
Well, he does have a lovely leather suit jacket.
He has a leather blazer.
Leather blazer.
Leather. What is that?
From Project Runway. My kids are made of leather. My face is made of leather. Stella. Her name was Stella.
Yeah.
I love her.
Yep, he's got the leather blazer, but like that doesn't really work in a courtroom. Though it's like not, you know, dress codes are like dress codes, but it's not like elite. You can't like you can show up in that.
I think you should just dress the way you want to dress. Yeah. I mean, whatever.
That judge. So like basically the whole movie is just like the judge basically like riding him really hard, and like
not sexually.
He just is like just knows he's from this out of towner, and there's obviously this very like north south dynamic going on in this movie that's like you know, battle of the north south, which I have a T-chart kind of comparison thing to read later. Yes, I did that.
I was wondering what those letters stood for.
I know. So like there's that whole like dynamic, but basically the whole movie is just Vinny learning on the job, you know, and getting the help from his awesome girlfriend who basically like steals the show in more ways than one. And just kind of like, yeah, learning the ropes as he goes. And like, you know, sometimes you just have to learn from experience. And, you know, it was really a rough situation to learn from experience when you have the lives of 2 youths in your hand. But yeah, so he does it. So he is, you know, he's kind of like reading about the Alabama law all through this. The judge had given him this like huge book. He does all his due diligence by going to the, you know, once he gets all the information from the prosecution about, you know, what the witnesses are going to call, he does all the due diligence and goes to them and questions them. So he starts building a case. And this is like what you're seeing for basically like the whole movie, right? Did you think that part was well done or like too slow or like fit together?
Well, I think that I like it because at the time it doesn't seem that important, but then later when he starts like doing the witness testimonies like on the stand or whatever, then it starts making more sense. So I like that aspect of it. Yeah, no, I think it was good.
And there's like a lot of little side running jokes in this too. So you have the main one, I guess, being that every hotel place they go to has like this crazy early wake up call just from like the surrounding elements that like are near the hotel. So like the first one has
what does that have to do with the case? Does that have to do with the case?
Oh, I'm just saying these are just like the little side plots.
Oh.
And that factors in because remember like the
whistle. Yep, there's a whistle. There's the pigs. There's
we don't have to talk about this if you don't want to.
I'm just confused. I thought you started talking about something else, but then you switched to the whistle, so I got confused. No, but yeah, that is a side plot, and it factors in actually because it causes him not to get any sleep at all. So that kind of is worrying, but he pulls through anyways.
Yeah, because he's basically just like a crackhead, and he also already has like a bad attitude. Now he's like really tired.
Yeah, but then he makes his first big like haha like actual correct thing, wherein he proves a witness's statement to basically be false, or at least like maybe not 100% truthful, or like I could have made a mistake. And once he does that, he sleeps soundly in a loud prison.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So you think it was just like the stress also that was like
I'm
keeping
pretty
him
sure.
awake.
That's what I gathered from that scene, because he's like smiling like in the prison, even though there's like people yelling and stuff around him. So
yeah,
I think that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, so basically it goes like, okay, so he's like struggling to kind of put everything in the trial together, but like as we said, once he gets, so there's like 3 witnesses that he basically like is able to throw out all of their testimony because of like certain reasons, and we'll go into that in like a little bit. And then basically he thinks that like, okay, like we cleared the case now. These guys are going to be innocent because we basically threw out the testimony of all the prosecution's witnesses. But then the prosecution calls us like special surprise witness, which I guess you can do, as we were saying. Like they do explain it, like why that was okay.
Why?
I don't know.
Wait.
I forget. I guess I wasn't
I don't
listening.
think he explained it. He was just like, sustained.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, so they bring in, and this, so basically the trial comes down to the tire marks that were left on the scene when in the getaway car they drove away so fast that like literally burned rubber. So there's like these tire marks on the scene of the crime, and they figure out that it's the same tire, make and model, of the car that the kids have. Billy and Stan. So they're kind of like slam dunk, okay. But is it really? Because that's apparently the most popular tire in the like make and model that like every car has like everywhere. So that's kind of like a dumb evidence.
Super dumb.
But I
Would
think that
never
they were
pass
saying
today.
that like it was just like too coincidental that like 2 cars would have the same tires but also be the same like mint green, metallic green convertible, white top, blah, blah. So they were just kind of like playing with that, I think. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's like the prosecution's like, ooh, like we got you now. And we're all like, shit. And so Vinny has like a lunch break to like figure out what the hell to do. Mm-hmm. And he's stressing out and he's like really freaking out. And he's kind of has all these pictures from the crime scene. And then his girlfriend Lisa comes in and she's like, I got my pictures, and like shows him like all the pictures. And he's kind of like making fun of her. And there's this dynamic between them that is also a integral part of the story, where she's kind of like his girl Friday, where she's basically like helping him along the way, but also she's his fiance, and he promised her that they could get married once he won his first case. So she's kind of like following along, but also kind of wants to know like, when are we getting married? And like, also, you don't appreciate me is kind of like their relationship, because she's fucking smart. Like she basically is the smartest person you know. And he just takes her for granted and is like, you don't know anything. You don't need to read this. You don't need to do that. And I think she just gets fed up with it. So they get into a fight right before like the final scene, when he figures out that the whole crux of the case is down to tire marks.
Right. So turns out it was not the same car, because Lisa is a car expert, because her whole family were mechanics and she worked as a mechanic in her father's garage, and she knows that it would be impossible for the defendant's car to have made those tracks, because some technical things that I don't understand.
Positive traction.
Whatever. And everyone's like, woo! And then the sheriff goes and runs something. What did he run exactly? Oh, to see if there had been record of like the car that Lisa said it would have been.
Pontiac Tempest.
Yep. And he says there was 2 boys matching the description of the defendants were arrested 2 counties over. Was that it?
Yeah.
It was close by, with a gun in the back seat, same color car, and just like the Pontiac Tempest.
Right.
So everyone's like, woohoo! Case is done. We're throwing out everything. Yeah. So they get off scot-free, and everybody can just go back to their lives.
Their way. And now they can get married because he won his first case. So it ends up being a real case of like coincidence, really. I mean,
which is not something you can build a case around.
No,
if this were to happen today, I don't think you can even use eyewitness testimony as the basis of the evidence.
Yeah, no, it was a super shoddy case, and that like I don't know. I mean, even when they picked them up and when they were all like, went pretty willingly and obviously were very confused during that confession, didn't ask if they wanted to call a lawyer. I mean, there's like obviously some very like weird parts to that early confession. They're like, wait a minute, like, would this make sense to you if you just like pick these guys up and they're totally clueless? And,
right. Or why they didn't like tell them anything. Like they wouldn't have said anything when they arrested him. Like, I'm sorry. Like, what did I do?
You have to tell someone when you can't just be like, you're arrested. You have to tell them why. Yeah. So
bullshit.
Did they even read them the Miranda warnings?
Apparently, because in the beginning they're like, you know your rights or whatever.
Okay. Missed that part.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like listening to so many true crime podcasts, right? That's such a thing. Or like even all the TV ones, like How to Make a Murder and like all that stuff. Or the owl one. What's that? The staircase. That is like kind of reminds me of this, where it's just like freak luck, basically, that like you were there at the same time and like all these pieces fit, but it wasn't you, which is like just blows my mind when it's in terms of crimes. And in this case, if that they didn't get off, I mean, they would have been completely innocent and like literally stolen a can of tuna and they would have been electrocuted. I mean, justice is fucked up. I'm like, I think we have like a good system here, but I'm just saying like the death penalty is shitty and should be taken away, because how many people have been like on death row or close to and exonerated? Like I just saw one the other day that was like some kid or some black guy who like killed a correctional officer or something like that, but actually he like didn't, and he had been in jail for like 20 years.
Huh?
I mean, 20 years of your life?
Wait, he died?
No.
He put in death? Oh. Whew,
no,
scary.
he got out, but he was like, "Oh my god, I just spent my whole
it's
life,
weird.
half
It's a
of my
weird
life in
thing."
jail."
And there's like currently reading "The Stranger Beside Me," which is Anne Rule's book about her relationship with, what's his the guy that killed all the women. Jeffrey
Dahmer?
Not Jeffrey Dahmer.
No.
The other one, Ted Bundy, and he got sentenced to death and like put to death, so he's dead because of that. But it's like, yeah, he's a monster, so I don't know. It's like, but then again, I also don't think that's like punishment.
I don't either. I mean, I think you should have to rot and sit it out,
but hey, that's politics.
I know. That's just like
that's
so fucked up though. But it's yeah. But I love courtroom stuff. I always think it's like so fascinating, and I think this one is like really well done. I think they built up, as Sweetie said, like they kind of leave all these little pieces for you. If you're paying attention for like the beginning part of the movie, and like why he's able to kind of figure stuff out, is all these little pieces he kind of like learns along the way, right? Like it all factors in to him, and like so there's this part where like, because obviously the whole thing is like he was not a trained lawyer. Like okay, what makes a good lawyer, right? Is it like, you've been practicing so long, you have so many cases. I mean, there's obviously the theme that he has to lie about how many cases he tried because he's like embarrassed he hasn't tried any. But in Vinny's case, he's like a natural lawyer because he's just very observant and like sees stuff, right?
Just like somebody else I know.
Who?
Elle Woods.
Elle Woods, exactly. Right? Just like Legally Blonde. So, and they give this like Ralph Macchio, like Billy gives this explanation of like when he's trying to convince Stan like not to drop him as a lawyer, and he gives this funny story about how like his cousin's wedding, like Alakazam the clown was there, clown magician or whatever, the magician.
I didn't know you could be both.
That would be awesome.
All this time.
So this magician's there, and like Vinny is calling out like every trick the magician does. He's like, he's palming it. I'm going to do the voice. I just like love doing the accents. He's palming it. There's a spring, and this thing twists around, and then this is this. There's a mirror under the table. Like, so Ralph Macchio is saying that basically like Vinny is very observant and can like see things like that other people can't. So he was like basically Alakazam's worst nightmare because he's like destroying all of his little tricks and stuff up his trick like that he has. So this is what makes like Vinny a good lawyer, and what you like actually see that he seems kind of like, yes, like abrasive and like can't follow the rules and this and that, but he's very observant and very smart despite not seeming to be from his outer like what he projects, right?
It's true. I agree. Yeah, so that part's very exciting, and I love a good courtroom reveal, like when the evidence clicks and they're like, I know the answer, and it's so exciting. I'll talk about my top 3 favorite scenes just like that later. But yeah, I love that scene. I thought it was very exciting, and I thought the way they did it was very well done. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, good. And you thought it was funny, right?
Yes. Although,
Hilarious.
and I will say it is interesting though how much Ralph Macchio's character and Stan kind of fade away from the beginning. Like the beginning, I remember, and this is the part that I always watched when I was little, is that they had a very crucial role in the movie, and then watching it, they like really aren't in much of the second half of it.
No.
Very much. They're
Yeah.
just like come in for the court and they don't say anything because Vinny's talking, and it's just like you kind of like forget. Like I kind of like forgot about them.
Yeah.
So that was kind of sad. But no, but yeah, I did like it, and it was. This movie is 2 hours long, actually, which
Wow.
is very long for a comedy, I would say. You know how we feel about long movies, especially long comedies. But I wasn't super mad about it. I'll be honest. I wasn't
No,
super
because it's
mad.
like so entertaining. It's every scene is like funny, and it's like the scenes are like pretty quick, and like they just kind of like jump to the next one and the next one. And it's a great like mix of the courtroom stuff, but them like preparing and them kind of having all those hijinks like within the town and everything. So I think it's like well balanced and well paced.
Yeah, I agree. What do you want to talk about?
I mean, my notes are like so random. Like,
Okay.
I don't even know if we should even like do it into like category.
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, I kind of want to talk about your north-south theory because that seems very exciting.
Okay. So I would say a large theme of this movie is the North-South divide. So you have like basically like two stereotypes coming ahead. So you have the North, which is like symbolized by Vinny and Lisa being very New York, like more New York than most New Yorkers. So like I said, they have like, you know, they come in, they have leather everything and these crazy accents, and they're just looking to see where all the Chinese food is, and big hair and gold chains. I mean, they're hilarious. Quick talking. And then they come down to the South, which is like obviously a little bit slower paced. Everything's a little bit more formal there. Different accents, different breakfast food options. So I just made like a little chart of like comparing the different categories and how they're symbolized in this movie, let's say.
Okay.
All right. So for the North, I have black, a lot of black, and slick Rick styling.
Slick Rick.
You know, hair gel, this and that. Clothes, etc. Chinese food, as I said. There's this great line when Lisa comes and she's like, they first roll into town, and she's like, I bet the Chinese food here is terrible. And she kind of keeps talking about it, and he's like, man, like, stop it with the Chinese food. They don't have Chinese food here. But do they?
In Alabama, yes. Maybe not in that little podunk town.
Right. 1990, whatever. They are ass kickers. So there's another side plot where, like, you know, if you've never seen Joe Pesci, like, go rent Home Alone, because the guy is a national treasure, but he's also 5'4". He's like the smallest person, like, man you've ever seen.
Peter Dinklage was way smaller.
Yeah,
Just saying.
but still. So he's like our height, and he is fucking firecracker, that guy. And he is not afraid of anybody. Nope. So he gets into these situations where, like, Lisa tried to hustle at pool, so tried to, like, get money. She's obviously a very good pool player in addition to
what can she
being
not do?
An out-of-work hairstylist and a mechanic.
She has so many talents.
Yeah. She's also a pool hustler, and so she won, and they didn't pay her the money. So there's this other side plot where he's like trying to go get money from these hicks that like are always hanging out at this bar, and this hilarious scene where he's like, okay, like, I'm gonna give me the $200 or I'll kick your ass or something like that. So they kind of like meet up during different parts of the movie, and the one part where he's just like fed up because I think he's trying to go to court or something like that, and the guy's like, hey, I finally got Yankee boy, I finally got your money, and he's like, you gonna kick my ass now? And he just like literally like jumps on him. So they're like ass kickers. They're just not afraid of anything. They're like, you know what, I might be like 2'5", but like I'm gonna kick your ass. And then I just said subtle racism. So the North is known for being, you know, a little bit more liberal, not as racist. But as we've all learned, it really is. subtle racism for the North. South, you have cooking with lard. So big theme of this / grits and food. It's like saying random words. So they like go out to dinner, or they go out for breakfast at this diner, and like the guy is he's like what would you like, and they pull out a menu and they're like they're like thinking about it and they're like breakfast sounds good, and you like see the menu, it just says breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Hey,
they're
makes
like
sense.
2 breakfasts. So the guy cooks, cooking them breakfast, and he just like puts this giant spoon of lard on the griddle.
It's like an ice cream scoop. It's like a giant chunk.
So crazy. So not that like they eat healthy at all, but I guess they just like are not. Our lard consumption in the North is maybe like a little less than the South, let's say.
Or nil.
And grits aren't as much of a specialty here, though they have certainly come up the Mississippi, let me say. I'm a huge fan of grits.
I think mostly because of us. I think we started the grits movement.
Grits
to
migration.
be honest. Yeah.
That would be amazing. I would totally take credit for that. Early morning wake-up calls. So, like we said, there's that whole section in the movie where Vinny is just getting woken up by these like crazy early morning wake-up calls, whether it's like the whistle at some kind of plant, the early morning animal rising, the freight train. I mean, can't catch a break there. Those people aren't sleeping in, apparently. Confederate flags. Saw a couple of
I just
them.
saw one.
Yeah, but, whatever. Obsessed with dress codes.
Well, in the court, was there another dress code? Like,
No, I
Okay.
guess just the courtroom, but still.
yeah, I don't know what the actual rules about that are.
Right.
I assume they're pretty strong. I don't know, but
They wouldn't kick. I don't think they'd kick you out of court
No.
for like wearing a leather blazer. Also, just take it off.
yeah,
Just
then you
use
wouldn't
your-
have a
your
jacket
shirt.
on.
Oh,
You
that's
need,
okay.
you need like the suit jacket.
We don't need it, do
You
you?
do. I don't know.
I don't know.
We
When
should
I
call
was,
a
When I
lawyer.
was on jury
Will?
duty, I saw like not the greatest outfits from some lawyers. So just saying.
Yeah, I mean,
don't know.
I'm sure
Is that
it's
huge with
not that big of a deal, but yeah. Okay.
Any others you'd add to that?
No, but I don't. Like I said, I didn't say this. I said I was going to say it, so I'm saying it now. I don't know if I think it's more offensive to like New Yorkers than it is to Southern people because there's only the one maybe sort of offensive thing is the guys in the bar who are like a little hickish, but not really. They're not as hick as I've seen other portrayals.
I would say so. The guys in the bars for sure, and I would say everyone just seems kind of slow and dumb, right? And the way that Vinny talks to all the witnesses is very like patronizing. I don't know if that's just like him, but like the way he talks to them is like they're idiots.
I mean, I think they were idiots.
They were.
At least the 2 guys. The old lady was sweet, but those 2 guys didn't seem like that bright.
Okay.
And like, so maybe that was truth. I don't know. But like, I didn't think anyone else sounded dumb. Like the cop at the beginning was like, "You got mud in your tires." Like that was he was being that was smart. That was actually what was happening. I don't know. I sensed wisdom.
But then what? So you just thought like the New York stereotype was just like too strong?
Maybe. I mean, it's hilarious. This is the thing with these, like, I don't know if people regard them as offensive because of the comedic value in it.
Right.
In both the New York and, like, a hick kind of
Yeah.
thing. Which, I mean, nobody can deny that hicks don't exist, but it's not saying that everyone from the South is a hick. It's just, like, there are some like that. Just, like, not everyone from New York is Slick Rick.
Right.
Vinny Bag of Donuts, but
I also think like and I think each side might even like take pride in their own stereotype, let's say.
sure.
Yeah. So like I'm watching this and I'm like, "Oh my god, like yeah, like that's how New Yorkers are, but that's great." Like, they're like take no shit. They're like whatever, this and that. And I think that's like a great stereotype because it's like in this movie especially they do a real because it's Billy's cousin. So it's very family. It's very Italian family. So it's like the Gambinis and it's all about a Gambini would never do this. A Gambini would never do that. So then you also have like the Italian family stereotype sort of like woven in there. But like I think the same way. Like our family, like even though we're not as much Italian, would be like if we had like a an uncle would be like, yeah, like uncle whatever will come and like bail you out, or cousin or whatever. Like I think that could work with our side of our family too, because I think we're like kind of like that in some ways.
Uncle Mike?
Yeah.
Who's coming? Who's
My
coming to bail us
cousin
out?
Zachary.
He's not a lawyer.
No, we don't have any lawyers in the family. You need a lawyer in the family. It's very important.
I know. We're screwed.
Yeah, so I don't think anyone. I mean, if anyone is offended, like I'd love to know, because I think
Let
it's
us
just
know.
funny on all counts.
Yeah. So the reason I said at the beginning that I think of this maybe as a sports movie is because it has a lot of the same like themes and beats that a sports movie has, where you're like, so you start off with somebody who's not very good at something, and then gradually they learn and start getting better at it, and then there's that moment when they really start getting good at it and you get excited, and then there's like the final event or showdown and they win or lose. Usually win, unless it's Cool Runnings when they crash upsettingly and you get upset. But I got sports movie vibes. Like it was that whole like
I think that's
underdog, like doesn't know what he's doing kind of thing, and then rises and then does.
I think that's a
good
really
thing.
cool, smart way to see it, and I never would have thought of it like that. But good call. I think you got something there. You got something there,
We
kiddo.
got something snappy.
Okay. Question for you.
Hit me.
What? How old do you think Vinny is supposed to be versus his fiance Mona Lisa Vito?
So this is tricky because they give Marisa Tomei this glorious white streak in her hair, which you're like, is that a fashionable choice, or if she actually has that gray streak from old age? Not old age, but like, you know.
But you can gray very.
I know,
very
so
early.
it's hard to say, but I don't know.
Her biological clock is ticking.
Right, so she has to be under 40 probably. So maybe like 34, 30. Maybe she's 35 like you.
Oh my god, I would love that.
Yeah, and he might be 40.
So do you think so he's like sort of older?
Yeah, I'd like to know how
guy.
they met
Yeah.
and what their story is, because I don't necessarily see them as like a perfect match.
But they have really good
And I got a
chemistry
little,
in this.
yeah, but I got a little cringy when they were making out on the,
Well,
for the
that's
love
just like
scene.
any Joe
I was
Pesci like
ooh.
love scene, though. I mean, because the guy is just, he's not someone you want as like
It's
a romantic
weird.
lead.
Yeah,
Let's say
I
it's
don't
just
know.
like
I felt weird,
and like he's so short, and he's like, I don't know, it doesn't work for me either. But I think their chemistry is fun in the sense that they like are just like. I do like that scene where like the faucet is left on, and she's like so smart, and she's just like giving it to him.
but she's I thought she was just like making stuff up.
She was.
Oh, okay.
It's all bullshit.
Okay.
Except so that part. So she like leaves. They're in the hotel room, and she leaves the faucet, or she doesn't leave the faucet on, but it's like dripping, and he's trying to read, and he's like, "Did you like leave the faucet on?" She's like, "No, I turned it off." And she's like, "Well, maybe it's broken." And he's like, "Are you sure?" So they get this like whole back and forth, and she's like making shit up about like which I always thought she said talk. She's saying torque.
Oh,
Like, yeah. I twisted it with 15 pounds of torque. And I always thought she was saying talk. And then she's like, I used a torque wrench. And I always, as a kid, was like, what's a torque
Oh my God.
wrench?
You
Not
must
that I
have-
knew what torque
you
was
must have been
either.
so
Oh, I was
confused
so confused.
your whole life.
I just could not watch. I just laughed so hard in like pretty much my inner self. No, like exactly watching that when I was little and be like, ooh, a torque wrench. Like, what's that?
Dad, can you pass me the talk wrench?
And then, oh no, this is my like level of complexity as like, well, it's 8-year-old or 9-year-old. Because she's talking about how many pounds of torque. So, torque means like turn, right? Like to turn a thing to a certain like pressure. So she's like 15 pounds of torque. And I thought she's saying 15 pounds of talk. And I thought like talk was like some like industry plumbing term.
Makes sense.
Good thing I didn't like trot that around to like the plumber came to the house and I'd be like, hey, Mr. Krieber, so like how much talk you putting on that faucet today?
I wish you did do that. I would have been so happy. Would have been so
He'd be
excited.
like, what are you talking about?
Love it. I love it.
So,
but wait,
anyway.
but go back on this. Thoughts on the streak, yay or nay?
Oh, I think it's fashionable. I think it goes with like the whole New York vibe.
I think it fits. It fits her.
Her personality.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can only see it like sometimes. It's pretty cool because like on the side, I wouldn't mind one like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah.
But just so you know, the actual actors who did this, so Joe Pesci was 49 when he filmed this.
Whoa.
Marisa Tomei was 27.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Ew, now I feel even grosser. Yeah.
It does. I mean, good for them. And you want to say, again, I always say this, like, no one is out of anyone's league. Like, it doesn't matter your height or what you look like or whatever, but, like, good for him. Because she's super cute and super smart.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And
She's
she's
the
a
best.
pistol. Yeah. She's so great in this. Yeah. Question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Again. What do you think of Ralph Macchio's Mexican child mustache? What is that
Okay,
called?
is that offensive? Because that feels offensive.
That's really offensive. But I couldn't think of
It's
what
called a dirt lip.
Dirt lip.
And I wrote down Ralph's dirt lip. Yuck.
Yeah. Oh my god. Was
So-
that your first note?
Well, like second. or
Wow.
third.
Okay.
But yeah, that thing is nasty.
Yeah.
I don't know why anyone would ever select that as their mustache of choice.
Right.
It is very bizarre. The only thing I can think of is that like you can't grow a full mustache, but you still want one.
So that's the only thing that's growing for him. He's not like shaving it into that
I
shape.
assume. I don't know. It's
22.
very gross.
Dude, give
It's just it does nobody. It will never. It won't do anyone favors. Like it's never. I'm never going to see that on somebody and be like, babe, total babe. Like that's never going to
Weird.
happen. So
Yeah.
just don't.
Maybe
Just
they
don't
just
have a
feel
dirt
like they
lip.
want to grow something to feel
Yeah,
like more
that's what I'm
manly,
saying.
and they're
It's
like,
like,
well, this is all I got, but like,
yeah.
whatever. I know that stuck out like a sore thumb. I was like, oh my god, please
It was
remember
gross.
that.
It was gross. I had a question. No, I don't. Oh. Why do they get to wear belts at the prison? That's not allowed.
They're I don't
They
know. They're
have these like
hanging-proof belts.
snazzy prison uniforms that are like white with a black stripe down the front, and they get their names stitched on the side. They don't have the budget to make sure the electric chair is running, but they do have the budget for those snazzy prison uniforms and nice belts, plus an undershirt and like another shirt, plus the uniform.
Yeah.
It was like a 3-piece uniform.
Those were the nicest prison uniforms I've ever
I
seen.
know.
And they basically look like baseball uniforms.
did.
Isn't that strange?
Probably because of the belt. But yeah, you're not allowed to have belts in prison, so you just it was I just
Not
wasn't
allowed.
Wasn't working out. What else you got?
Okay, I mean, I have like a couple of my favorite scenes. I'm going to go over those. Okay.
Share them with the class.
Okay, so my first favorite scene is when Vinny comes to the prison for the first time, and Billy is sleeping, and Stan is awake, and he gets like taken into the jail cell. And you're right, like Vinny does not look like your typical lawyer. You know, he does look like maybe someone who has also committed a crime and is being brought in.
But he's also wearing real clothes.
And he's from New York in Alabama, so like that should have been a tip off,
together.
right?
Put it together.
Come on, Stan. You're an NYU graduate. Like, put it together. So there's this like great because Stan was just freaking out about how like you know what happens in these prisons, basically like don't drop the soap kind of a thing. And Billy's like, stop freaking out. There's only 2 bunk beds in here. It's just us, like whatever. But Stan's convinced they're gonna like bring in cots and put in another bunkmate or something who's gonna like butt rape them. Like he's so neurotic and crazy.
Wheeling in the cot.
Like, have you ever seen? This is not like the hotel room Dumas Family style, where like Sweety had to sleep on a cot.
I was gonna
This
say
is
that.
like, right? Like, when have you seen a prison scenario where they're like, "We'll just put you in a cot in here"?
I mean,
Like,
they don't have a lot of money, so
low
who
budge.
knows?
Yeah. So anyway, so he's like freaked out that someone's gonna come in there and like butt rape him. So then Vinny gets brought in. He's convinced it's this guy who's gonna like come in and butt rape him. So it's just like it's again almost kind of like the tuna fish like can scene where like only one person thinks it's something and another person thinks it's another kind of a thing, and they just keep going with it, and it's so
They're
funny.
just like saying all the wrong
Right,
things
all the wrong
that
things.
make total sense for what the other person thinks.
So like he has Dan baby is like backed into a corner, and he's just being like, okay, like I know this is gonna be painful, and he's like, Stan's like, I don't want to do this, and Vinny's like, well, like, you know, it's your ass, not mine. Like, so there's all these like ass jokes, and then the other one is like, Joe Pesci goes, I did not come down here just to get jerked off. And Stan's like, I'm not jerking anybody off.
It's great. Yeah,
Great.
it's a really good scene.
Oh my God, it makes me want to
Really
die.
good scene.
So good. So then I love the two Marisa Tomei monologues, let's say. So the first one is where like Vinny is going to go hunting with the prosecutor. He's like a hunting cabin. He's a big hunter, and he's going to try to like schmooze him to get like information about the case. So he asks her like, you know, he's like, I'm going deer hunting, but like, what do you think these pants are okay? He doesn't have like hunting pants. And she's like, you're going to shoot a deer? A poor defenseless baby deer? And he's like, oh, that's just like how it is, whatever. And she like flips out and goes into the bathroom, and then is like basically comes out and does this like a rant on like on like what's it like for a deer to get shot. He's like, oh, this little baby deer, and he puts his sweet little lips down to the cool water. Bam! A fucking bullet rips off his head. His brains lying all over the place. Now I ask ya, do you think he would give a shit like what kind of pants the son of a bitch who shot him was wearing? Love that part. So funny.
I think I was getting another shrimp taco at that part.
Oh my
I missed
God,
it.
so good. Yeah, you were. You totally were. So then the second part was they are at this like cabin. So like the prosecutor gives them this cabin in the woods because it's like quiet, and they're having obviously trouble with all the early wake up calls and everything. So she's in this amazing floral bodysuit with like ankle boots, and it's like a backless, basically like jumpsuit, mock turtleneck style, long sleeve. It is like amazing. And she's like kind of freaking out because she's like, I feel like I can't help you, and reminds him like, you know, that he promised that they could get married if he won his first case. And she's like, and my biological clock is ticking like this. And she like stamps her foot. And it's just this like great freak out scene. And then he freaks out equally and does this also great monologue where he like makes fun of her, and he's like, how much more shit can we pile onto the outcome of this case? I ask ya. Love how they always say that. I ask ya. So funny. So I like love. I mean, basically that like won her the Oscar. These like amazing monologues of her just being like total spitfire and just being like, "Fuck you." She's so great. And then her like final one on the scene when she talks about the positive attraction and all that. You girl, I love her. She's so fucking awesome. And my favorite part about her character is that people are like, I mean, the whole mechanic thing where she's like really pretty girl with these like long fake fingernails and these tight dresses, but she's a fucking mechanic. She knows her stuff. And I love when that happens to women in movies.
Me too. Haha. Yeah, I love it. Any other favorite scenes, or was it the stutter?
I do love the stutter. And I think that was Dad's favorite part too. He like cracked
and that
up.
is interesting because like he goes away after that. So did he just get like dismissed by Stan? Was like, so at some
got
point
fired.
Stan decides that he
Remember
wants
stands up and he's like, I want him.
Oh, yeah. Stan decides that he does not want Cousin Vinny as the lawyer because he's terrible. So he's like, I'm going to use the public defender. So at first the guy seems really great, and he's like, there's the case, the evidence here against you is pretty bad, but I think we can like make it work. And he finally gets on the stand in the court, and all of a sudden has like this terrible stutter and just like can't get any words out. It is so painful but funny.
My favorite part of that is when he's like he's like touching the guy in the jury box. That would like never
And
be
like
allowed.
spitting on them. Yeah, I was like, this isn't
The
right.
guy's face in the jury box is like,
he's like,
priceless.
stop touching me. It's
And
pretty
there
good.
was an IMDb like thing, which I didn't realize until I read it, that like if you look the Joe Pesci, and Ralph Macchio and the guy who plays Stan are all fuzzy in the background, but they're like cracking up during that scene. Like they like cannot hold it
It's
together.
very funny.
It's really good.
I did enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, is it offensive to stutters? Maybe.
Maybe you should ask that guy you went on a date with.
So I
one
was going
time.
to tell my stutter story. So I've only encountered one person with a stutter. Like I have not encountered that many in my life, and I know that they're kind of like, you know, it's a really difficult thing, and I think you can outgrow it. Like there's a lot of like sort of treatments and like counseling you can do to like or what is that called, like word speech pathology kind of stuff to like help you through that. So I think like it's getting better, but it's like a brunt of a lot of jokes and comedies and stuff like that, and I do feel bad if you like have one. But I've only come across one stutter, and it was on a first date, and I remember reading in the profile, the guy was like, oh hey, I had a childhood stutter, but I conquered it like yay and B or something like that. And I'm like, that's cool. Like in my mind I was like, that must have been really hard, but like good for you. So I like go on the date, and like it's fine at first and whatever, and then all of a sudden like after we're like waiting for a table for dinner, And all of a sudden, I remember it was the word Brussels sprouts. He like could not get the word Brussels sprouts out. It was just like bruh, 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 bruh. And I didn't know what was happening. Like I almost forgot he had a stutter at first. Like I thought he was having like a seizure or something. I was like, and then it clicked, and I was like, oh my God, right, stutter. And then that was the rest of the date. So like literally every couple sentences, he would struggle to say things. And so at this point we were at dinner and I'm like sitting across from him and I just didn't know what to do. And I'm like, my mind is racing. Like, what is the proper protocol for like stutterers? Should you like try to help them if you kind of know what they're trying to say? Like you say the word instead and then they can just skip over that? Do you like pretend like you don't know what's happening and you're just like, not noticing it, or like I forget what my third option was. Who knows what the right protocol is? So I really tried all those. I was like, oh, okay, like so first I pretended not to like notice but it would go on for like 5 seconds. So I was just like, like. And I think it just got worse as he like kind of maybe could see me kind of freaking out a little bit about it, and I felt so bad. And I mean, long story short, like he was not the guy for me. I remember he was like, I was like, what? I was like, if you like could never work again or something like that, and like what, or like won the lottery and had all this money, like what would you do? I was like, I would quit my job and like travel the world or something like that. He's like, oh no, I'd never do that. I'd day trade. Like I love day trading. I'm like,
ew, that's like our least favorite thing.
That's what I said. And remember, I was like,
snooze.
I don't have any money. I don't care about money. Like I don't want to know about money. Oh my God. So I knew he wasn't for me like at that point, but it was just, man, it was kind of a nutty first date. But that's my stutter story.
Super sad.
Yeah.
So the other courtroom movies that I love that have great like reveals at the court scene are Legally Blonde, which I've already talked about, but which is a great movie, and again is like another like underdog, doesn't know what she's doing. This time it's like school, Harvard Law School, but it's such a great scene at the end when she realizes that the daughter did it because she's lying about her hair.
And very similar to this one, right? Because it was like she found something that she actually knew about, which was perms and how you do your hair.
Right.
And like Vinny, knew a lot about cars, and it came down to those tire tracks and what he saw on the tire tracks, right? So he just like it ended up being something he actually knew.
Yeah. So that's pretty great. Number 2, Liar Liar, which is a Jim Carrey movie that's like not talked about a super lot, but I've always liked it for some reason.
Great.
And it might be because of the courtroom aspect of it, and the whole thing obviously is that he can't lie, so he needs to find a way to like defend this terrible person in a child like custody case or whatever, and he does by like the grace of God. Realizes that she's been lying about her age and that when they got married it wasn't legal because she was too young. So that was exciting. And then the best one of all time, I think my favorite of all time, is To Kill a Mockingbird, which is like one of my favorite movies ever, and I love the courtroom scene so much. In that scene where Atticus decides that he couldn't have strangled Mayella Ewell because the marks are like a person who is right-handed, and he asks Tom to like catch a glass, and he does, and he's like, now catch it with your right hand. He's like, I can't, sir. Why not? Got it caught in the cotton gin when I was young, sir. And like he can't even hold anything in that hand because like the nerve damage is so bad, and so he like physically could not have strangled that girl. And it was like the best, like ha ha ha, la sucker. But then fucking convicted anyways because it's Southern racist pieces of trash. But that is still like the courtroom scene that I always think of, and I'm sure you have other ones like A Few Good Men, probably.
Yeah, so that's my favorite one. So that's my other like. A Few Good Men, Philadelphia. That's a really good one, though very sad. Mm-hmm. Excellent one, like Denzel doing his.
They
thing.
win that case.
Yeah. He good. But yeah, the Few Good Men one, obviously, that one's so great. Where he just basically.
Also, never seen that, but I will.
We should.
Maybe I'll watch
that
it
one.
this weekend.
Yeah. Oh, so I mean, it's Aaron Sorkin wrote it, so it's very like Sorkin, quick, fast dialogue and stuff like that. But that ending is great when Jack Nicholson basically just like flips out.
Don't spoil it.
Oh no. Okay.
I mean, I know what he says, but
you can't handle the truth is like doesn't tell you anything.
Okay, good. Good. Don't say anything else.
You can't handle the truth. But yeah, some good people in that. Kevin Pollak. Ooh, do you know that? Just from the Willow thing.
Yeah. There's also your Pelican Brief, your Time to Kill, your Green Mile. Like, that's the actually is the
Time to Kill. That's a good one too.
Yeah.
Wait, Green Mile is courtroom?
No, probably not. But well, I mean, what did they
Pelican
decide?
Brief isn't courtroom either. It's just about the law.
I was thinking A Time to Kill.
Yeah.
Which I have a hard time with because I'm like,
What, you don't think he should have gotten away with it?
no. Well, I don't know. You just vigilante killing is like not a thing.
Vigilante is tough. Yeah, definitely.
I don't know how to feel about it, and I felt weird. I just remember feeling weird because he does get off at the end, and I remember being like, so it is okay to kill someone.
Well, and that one is sort of
in
like
revenge?
the opposite of To Kill a Mockingbird because it's almost like they tried to like right that wrong because it's like, okay, a black man in the Deep South and he killed 2 like at home white boys, and the way he like Jake Brigance, right, is the Matthew McConaughey character, does it. He like tells this like basically like what happened to the little girl, and then he goes, now imagine if she was white. And so it's like them suddenly having this conscious of being like, oh, that would have been so horrible, and we would have been like, if it was reversed and if it was a black guy who raped a white girl. I know. But like the little girl almost died. She didn't.
I thought she did.
No. But and they were Ku Klux Klan members.
Yeah, I know. That whole part, yes. Yeah. But I don't. I think there's
agree. There should not. Yeah. We can't have a society where vigilante justice, an eye for an eye, happens because this is why we have this society and it works. It's because we have this system that will imprison people, if they do bad things. Like, you can't take it into your own hands no matter what. Like, you can't play God. Gone Baby Gone, that's like one of my favorite movies in the sense when you have to like play that sort of dynamic. Do you remember that plot of that one?
No, but I've seen it, but don't. I would like to watch it again someday and not remember. Also, Eye for an Eye, good movie.
Well,
Sally Field,
and she kills Kiefer Sutherland.
Spoiler, but yes.
But what happens to her though? Nothing.
No, because it's self-defense. Because she like makes it so that he'll come and like try to kill her.
Well, then that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as it works out
Sally,
for you in that
you
way.
cool. You cool.
Yeah, you cool. But yeah, there's just. I mean, I just like love all that Double Jeopardy with
you always
Ashley
talk about
Judd. That one's kind of cool. She gets like convicted of her husband's murder, but then he faked the murder because he like wanted the insurance or I don't know. Anyway, good one. Yeah. Okay. What else? We did favorite scenes. 15 pounds of talk. Which pants am I wearing?
We just have to play the game now.
Yeah, I think we might just be all... Okay, great. Oh, and just like quickly, I read this little thing in the trivia. They wanted to do a sequel where they were like, Vinny takes Britain. What? I guess like the UK justice system?
I don't think you can do that.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
But I guess like Marisa Tomei wouldn't sign on. Good thing. Good for you, girl. I mean, that's awesome. Like, no one to quit it.
Yeah.
This movie did great and it was awesome. Does not need a sequel.
Nope.
Like, we get it. Okay. So the way Vinny is introduced. Well, okay. So it's first like, as we said, Ralph Macchio like calls his mom and that's a great scene. He's like in the police station and he's like, Ma. And he's like great Ralph Macchio, like New York accent. Ma. No, like we're fine. Yeah. So we're in a bit of trouble. We're in Wazoo, Ma. Yeah, we've been arrested. Ma, calm down. Ma, calm down. So there's like great exchange. And so he's like talking about getting a lawyer and he's like, oh, like someone's in the family a lawyer? Like who? And he's like, oh my God, great. So it's like my cousin Vinny. So then when Vinny comes to the prison to like meet them for the first time, the way they greet each other, and they always greet each other hugging, which I like love. They're always like, hey.
Sweet, yeah.
So sweet. Total like Italian family thing, I think too. And he goes, hey, Vinny bag of donuts. Okay. So the game is how, name some reasons why you would be called Vinny bag of donuts.
Okay. At first, I thought it was like a thing where when Ralph Macchio was little, he would pronounce his name Vinny, but like bag of donuts.
Me too. That's what I thought.
Then I was like, that doesn't make sense. Yeah. So then maybe I'm thinking, maybe every time he comes to a party, he brings a bag of donuts as his gift to the host. Bag of donuts. Always got the bag of donuts.
The Dunkin' box of coffee.
Maybe.
Do they have those back there?
I don't know.
Okay. My theory is Vinny bag of donuts. He eats a bag of donuts in one sitting.
You know what's interesting though is that like donuts don't often come in a bag when there's multiple donuts. Like
they were when we grew up. That was like the way. Remember, Dad would go to Hole in One and bring home a bag of donuts.
Right.
It was not a box.
That's right.
You know what? I remember that and how crappy that
Yeah,
was
it
because
didn't
like
make any
all the
sense.
shit from all the other
Yep.
donuts would get on the other donuts.
It was a terrible
So
idea.
I always like the one with the chocolate on the top, the whatever. It's like plain yellow donut, but then like not a Boston cream, so it has a hole in it, but like that kind of thing.
Chocolate frosted, yes.
Chocolate frosted. And the chocolate frosted would be like all off because I'd rubbed against all the other donuts. Same with the powder.
Yeah, it was just not good for anyone.
What's your favorite kind of donut?
Ooh, glazed. Classic glaze.
Classic glaze?
Yeah.
From
just
where?
So good. I mean,
Whatever.
I'll eat a glazed donut anywhere.
What do you feel about the Krispy Kreme?
I feel pretty good about it. I haven't had like the actual Krispy Kreme, like a hot crisp, like a warm, with the lights on.
Oh, so one of those like moved into my college, and it was like I couldn't eat donuts, but I went with my friends, and it was just like lines around the block to get like the hot donuts. It was like, give me the donuts.
I know. I mean, they're
very
amazing.
airy though, right?
Oh,
You can eat like
guess.
they're not that filling.
I guess. I mean, I can always eat at least 3 donuts
Yeah.
and a half. So, and then a donut
Whoa.
snack for later.
Whoa.
So,
So when I was little, I had 3 things going on, right? So I was pretty much the only kid who liked a plain donut.
I like plain donuts now, but
Plain
yeah,
cake
back
donut.
then, no.
Yep. I would like occasionally the chocolate frosted. Okay. But then I really like the chocolate cake with like the kind of hard glaze, not like the sticky.
Oh, yeah,
like,
I love that
glaze.
one.
Yeah.
That's
But
my
I
other
was
favorite.
never just a glaze. You know, so many people love the glazed donut.
I love the
Yeah,
glazed
you were the
donut.
glaze. I hated the glaze. I'm like, I don't want that shit. And like, I feel like that was like the vanilla ice cream of donuts, and I never liked it.
I don't know. I'm offended.
I just don't
Glazed
like
is an
glaze.
amazing invention.
Glaze
It is the best
glazed
thing of all
vanilla
time.
Donut. It's like,
What?
chocolate cake
No,
all the
it's
way.
like a little honey. It's like honey, like sweet. I don't know.
It's just not for me.
Whatever.
Whatever. I'm
So-
my donut times are few and far between.
Bag
now.
of Donuts mystery though still continues.
Yeah.
Please tweet us your theory on why he's
I mean,
called
what else
Bag of
could it
Donuts.
be?
He ate a bag of donuts one time and got sick. I don't know.
His
Stole a bag of donuts?
His body looks like a bag of donuts.
Ooh.
Maybe it's a physical reference.
Oh, makes sense. Makes sense.
But I also too thought it was like, oh, it's like a complicated Italian name where you like Baganici or something.
yeah,
like
maybe his middle name
Bagadonici or
is
something.
Bago.
Yeah, right. But then you're like, wait a minute, you're Vincent Gambini.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't make sense. Well, someday we'll know. Someday
prequel.
somebody find it. Yes, like why he's called Bag of Donuts. Oh my god, that'd be the best sketch ever. It's like so stupid. It's just like, anybody want a donut?
Hey, I got some bag of donuts every time he shows up. Hey, bag of donuts here. Vinny bag of donuts. Man.
Good times. Or it could be like a Citizen Kane like Rosebud thing, and like the beginning is like, will we ever know the mystery? And then you find out, and it's just like him bringing donuts in. You're like, that's it. That's it. Damn it.
Bullshit.
That'd be great. But good times. Good times. Yeah. Cool. Wow.
Awesome. Well, this was an amazing pre-birthday film.
Woo!
I laughed. I cried.
You cried?
I didn't cry.
Oh. Ralph cried at the end. He got really emotional.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh
I
God,
would
I
too.
almost
I
died."
wasn't gonna go on the electric chair.
That's true.
I'm really, as much as you said that you were, sad and embarrassed to confess this, I kind of like when you haven't seen them yet because I just feel like it gives you like a fresh take that we don't usually have with
Cool.
these because we've seen some of these movies so many times.
Well, we'll have to start getting you on the bandwagon then.
What will it be?
I don't know.
What'll it be?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm thinking some Disney original movies. I don't know. But
Rip Girl.
it's Rip Girls, plural. Which yes, it's an amazing
Motocross.
film.
Just kidding. Saw that
God, I
one. Had a
love
huge
that
crush on
one.
the kid.
Love
No biggie.
Yeah. So, anyways, thanks guys for listening. You can find us on Twitter at the Sweety Club or on Instagram at Large Marge Santos. Thanks for listening and happy birthday, sweetie. Thank you. Bye. Bye.